Welcome everyone to Inktober 2025. My name is Lavinia, and if you've been following along, you know that I've been participating in this Inktober 2025 challenge with the Zentangle prompts. We are at day 24, and this one is a little bit different. So I'm going to go ahead and show you, but I also wanted to let you know that I did put the Kurtuba here on the calendar. I hadn't done that in the previous video, so I added it here, and then I used my Derwent color pencils to color that in. So just wanted to give you a close-up of that so that you can see that. So you don't necessarily have to use graphite or pastel pencils. If you have color pencils, you can go ahead and color those in too if you'd like. So today's Zentangle is called Letterish. I've already put it here on the back of the bijou tile that I'm going to be using. So let me show you what I did for this Zentangle. And Letterish just means that it looks like these could be letters. So you're not necessarily putting in the letters ahead of time. I'll show you how it gets drawn and how these letter effects happen. And I guess if you wanted to put in a design first, you could, but that's not how Zentangle works. It's you put in patterns and then sort of see what pops up. So if you're thinking of putting a word in first, like penciling in a word or inking in a word and then inking around it, that's not what Letterish is. So let's go ahead and I'll show you here on the calendar first. So I have here a couple of pens. These are my Otter Sloft, and this is the Master's Touch, the Hobby Lobby brand, the 0.7, and I might use that one. So I'll put this here, but I'm not necessarily following this. So really what you're doing is, let's say you have, let me bring this a little bit closer. So I think I'm going to close this off here so that day 31 can be seen. So let me go ahead. This might be running out of ink because I do use it a lot. So let's say this is the area that I want to add my Letterish to. So then what you're just really doing is just adding some lines just wherever. Nothing planned out. Again, just some lines here and there. Okay, so you've got that. And then from here, you're just adding blobs, circles, elongated blobs. So let's say, for example, here I might want to do a blob that looks like this, and then I'm just going to ink that in. And then here, maybe I'll put in another little blob, but maybe I will bring this down to that line. Then here, maybe I will put in perhaps another blob that looks like a keyhole. Kind of like that. And I don't know, maybe I'll put like an elongated one like that, ink that in. And then here, maybe I'll put in another one of those like that. So it's pretty free form. And maybe I'll put one here. And another one here. We'll put in one going this way. And maybe another one that way. And maybe I'll have this one coming out like this. I guess I've used this pen, this 0.7, a lot because it's not as thick as the 1, you know, the 1.0, and not as small as the 0.5. And then here, maybe we can put one in going like this, and maybe like this. Okay. So now that you have all your blobs in, or I don't know if they're blobs or just ink blots, and you're going to, I think I will go to maybe my other pen. Let me see. I'm going to my 0.1, which is a thicker nib. And so now what you're going to do is any area, so you're going to want to round areas out. So almost like that, I don't know, vibe of the 70s, I guess. So for example, here, I'm going to round this out. And then over here in this corner, I'm going to round that out. And then also here where it meets, going to round these areas. So anywhere where these lines were, we're going to give that a little bit of that roundness. It sort of reminds me of that newer graphic art, where whenever you have intersections or corners, you round those out. So that's essentially what we're going to be doing here. And maybe here I'll give this a little bit of a thicker line and round it out as well. So you can see they start to take the shape of letters, but it's not planned. Here I'm going to round this one out. Give this a little bit of a curve. I'm going to come here and round this one, as well as over here. So in each area, you're just gonna give it that little bit of rounding. That also, oh, that looks like IOU and some, but I guess that is pretty much it for Letterish. Gotta find now where I'm going to put that. I'll grab my other pen. I just want to write Letterish in here. So that is it on the calendar. I am not going to do it here on the bijou tile since we did it here. It's sort of the same thing. Here on the compilation page, I'm just going to have to figure out where I might want to do it. And I may just do, maybe in these areas, just like little, you know, maybe, let's see. Let's put pen to paper and see what happens. So maybe I'll put this coming across here like this. And then I can just add those lines. I think I'm going, this is the 0.1. That's fine. I guess I must have used this one a lot too because it feels a little bit dry. Let's come over. Yeah, let me grab another pen. Okay, much better. And then just some lines here and there. And let's go ahead and put those blobs in. I'm going to go back to this 1.0 and see what happens. So Let's go ahead and put one here and ink this in. And maybe let's go ahead and put one here and ink that in. And put that there like that. So I'm just going to put those there. Oh, and actually there's one over here. So maybe I'll just make it like that. And then I'm just going to go and round these edges. So I'll start with this one here first. And then come here and round this. So I'm putting that slightly curved triangle. And then here, I'm going to make that line a little bit thicker and then just round it off. Turn your paper as you need to. I'm going to round that. So essentially no pointy edges. Which is why I'm going to fill that in there as well. And then maybe for some shading, we can go ahead and do that. Let's see, maybe just here on the outside edges. Make it look like Mirth is on top of the Letterish. And also Ole Ole is on top of it. Perhaps just a little bit here. All right, let's see what that looks like as we add the blending tool. This one I can see maybe if I'm in an artist block, perhaps. This might be fun to do in those moments. And then if I wanted to lift, I can use my eraser to just lift any areas out. Like that. So for now, I'm just going to leave Letterish there. I could probably continue maybe in certain areas and add more, but for now, leaving it there. So this again is Letterish. I might use some of my pastel pencils to color this in a little bit later on. But thanks so much for watching, everyone. Take care. I will see you in the next one. Bye.